So here's just one example of a firewall policy that you could implement. It's not the only one. Remember, you can write whatever rules you feel like writing. But here's a common one that a home network might use. So in your home network, if you have a router and all of your packets to the rest of the internet pass through the router, maybe that router has a firewall feature installed. And if you turn it on, maybe this is what it does by default. So maybe you could say that by default, we will allow all of the outbound traffic. So in other words, if the packet is coming from someone inside the network and it's being addressed to somebody outside the network, we will just allow all of those. Now, that doesn't have to be the only policy. You could instead say, I don't want users accessing this illegal website. I don't want them watching illegal streams or anything like that. In that case, maybe you don't want to allow all outbound traffic, but one common policy is just to allow everything outbound. And in that case, the firewall doesn't do any checking if the packet is heading out to the rest of the internet. Now, for inbound policy, once again, there's lots of different things you can do. But one idea that commonly is seen is to allow inbound traffic if it's in response to an outbound connection. That's a fancy way of saying if this packet is a reply to something that was initiated by somebody inside, allow it. But if this packet is not in reply to somebody asking a question on the inside, then we will not allow it, and we will drop it. So for example, if an employee is trying to connect to a website outside of the network, then this employee is going to start the connection by sending a TCP SYN packet or something to the website that they're trying to contact. And the website's going to reply with the SYNAC, or maybe later reply with the contents of the web page. Since that packet is being sent in response to something that the employee asked for, somebody inside said, give me www.google.com, and the Google server replied with some HTML. We'll allow that because it's in response to something that an internal user requested. However, if an attacker just walks up to one of the employee servers and wants to send a packet, and it wasn't in reply to something that the employee requested, the firewall might notice that and decide, this is not allowed. It's not in reply to something that one of my internal hosts requested, so I will drop it. That's one possible policy. Again, if you don't like it, if you think that more things should be blocked, that's something you can do. But this is just one example of something you could enforce. And we haven't said how to enforce it yet, but that's something you could possibly tell your router to do.